The massive Imperial ship emerged from hyperspace near Mars, its metallic hull gleaming under the distant sun's rays. On Earth, military bases worldwide went into high alert. Radar operators watched their screens with sweaty palms as the alien vessel, nearly the size of Manhattan, approached Earth's orbit. Admiral James looked through the command center's window at the night sky. "So they finally found us," he muttered. Around him, the Joint Global Defense Command hummed with activity. Screens display the alien ship's approach from every possible angle. The first message from the Empire arrived in perfect English, surprising no one in the room. "Greetings, inhabitants of Sol 3. We are the Galactic Empire, rulers of 10,000 systems. Your world lies within our expansion zone. Submit to Imperial rule, and you shall be granted the privilege of serving the Empire." President Wilson stood before the United Nations emergency session, his face grim. "They expect us to just bow down and accept slavery," he said, looking at the assembled leaders. "We've prepared for this day for 50 years. Our hidden fleets are ready. Our weapons are primed. Should we show them what humanity is truly capable of?" The vote was unanimous. Earth would not submit. The human response was diplomatic but firm. "We welcome peaceful contact with galactic civilizations. However, Earth and the Sol system are sovereign territory. We will not submit to any external rule. We advise you to respect our independence." The Empire's reply came within hours. Admiral Trevor watched the alien commander's hologram appear in the command center. The alien looked almost reptilian, with scales that shimmered like polished brass. "Your primitive species fails to understand its position," the Imperial commander said. "We have conquered civilizations far more advanced than yours. Your technology is centuries behind ours. Submit or face extinction. You have 24 Earth hours to reconsider." Admiral Trevor smiled. If only they knew about the quantum shields, the dimension slip drives, the dark matter cannons. Earth had discovered the Empire's probe ships decades ago and had prepared accordingly. Every peaceful satellite launched in the past 30 years carried hidden weapons. Every space station housed squadrons of advanced fighters. "Send them our final message," Trevor ordered. The communication was brief. "We warned you one last time. Withdraw your forces. Earth is not what you think it is. If you choose war, you will face destruction beyond your comprehension. We have studied your empire for decades. We know your weaknesses. This is your only warning." In the Imperial ship, Commander Rex laughed as he read the human message. Such arrogance from a species that barely reached their own moon. "Ready the punishment fleet. We'll show them what happens to those who defy the Empire." Little did he know that humans had reached far beyond their moon. Hidden bases on Mars, Europa, and Titan housed humanity's real space fleet. Stealth satellites tracked every Imperial movement. AI systems had already cracked their communication codes. "They're calling for reinforcements," reported Lieutenant Brown, monitoring Imperial communications. 200 ships. "They're calling it a minor punishment fleet." Admiral Trevor nodded. "Just as we expected. Alert all commands. Activate Defense Protocol Alpha. And get me the President." President Wilson listened to the update in his underground command center. "So it begins," he said quietly. They had their chance to leave peacefully. Across the solar system, hidden human facilities sprang to life. On Mars, massive hangar doors opened in seemingly empty desert plains. Around Jupiter, cloaked space stations powered up their weapons. Near Saturn, quantum-phase battleships shimmered into visible existence. On the Imperial command ship, Commander Rex watched with satisfaction as his sensors detected the approaching punishment fleet. "Soon, these primitives will learn their place," he told his bridge crew. "Prepare to record their surrender. The Emperor will be pleased with our swift." He never finished his sentence. Multiple alarms screamed across his bridge. "Sir, energy readings everywhere. The humans, they have orbital platforms we didn't detect. Thousands of them." "Impossible," Rex shouted. Their technology level. Sir, more ships appearing. They're not using any known drive signatures. Our shields, they're not responding to these weapons. In the Earth Defense Command, Admiral Trevor watched the holographic display showing the battle that was about to begin. Send to all commands, he ordered. Execute Attack Plan Delta. Show them exactly why they should have run when we warned them. The space around Earth lit up with weapon fire. Humanity's first interstellar war had begun, and the Empire was about to learn a harsh lesson about underestimating primitive species. The void of space erupted in brilliant colors as Earth's orbital defense network engaged the Imperial punishment fleet. Admiral Trevor watched calmly as the first wave of human stealth fighters emerged from their hidden positions around the moon. Status report, he commanded. Imperial shields are ineffective against our quantum weapons, reported Captain Miller. Their ships weren't designed to handle attacks from multiple dimensions at once. First wave has destroyed 30 Imperial vessels with 0 losses on our side. The Imperial fleet's formation broke apart in confusion. Their sensors couldn't lock onto the human vessels that seemed to phase in and out of existence. Their energy weapons passed harmlessly through Earth's ships, which operated slightly out of phase with normal spacetime. On the Imperial command ship, Commander Rex screamed orders in panic. How are they doing this? Where did these weapons come from? Get me a target lock on something. Impossible, sir, his weapons officer shouted back. Their ships keep disappearing from our sensors. Our weapons can't track them. We're getting reports of massive casualties across the fleet. The space around Earth had become a graveyard of Imperial ships. The human vessels moved with impossible precision, their eye-driven systems reacting thousands of times faster than their organic opponents. Debris from destroyed Imperial ships filled the void, while Earth's forces remained untouched. Launch the second wave, ordered Admiral Trevor. From behind Mars, hundreds of human battleships emerged from their hidden bases. They had waited decades for this moment, perfecting their technology while studying Imperial weaknesses. The Imperial fleet tried to regroup, but it was too late. Human ships attacked from all directions, their weapons ignoring Imperial shields completely. The mighty Empire, which had conquered thousands of worlds, found itself helpless against Earth's advanced technology. Sir, Captain Miller reported, Imperial command ship is attempting to escape. Should we allow it? Admiral Trevor smiled grimly. Let them run. Let them tell their Emperor what happened here. Send the wolf pack to follow them at a distance. Track where they go. In the Imperial capital, 12,000 light-years away, the Emperor received the devastating news. His golden scales darkened with rage as he watched the battle footage. The supposedly primitive humans had destroyed his punishment fleet in less than an hour. Impossible, he roared. How did we miss this level of technology? Where did they hide it all? His advisors cowered before him. Your Majesty, one dared to speak. It appears the humans have been aware of our existence for decades. They used our own stealth technology against us, hiding their true capabilities while studying our weaknesses. Meanwhile, across Imperial space, more surprises awaited. Human sleeper agents, positioned years in advance, began their carefully planned sabotage. Imperial communications networks crashed. Defense systems mysteriously failed. Supply lines were disrupted by invisible attackers. Back on Earth, President Wilson addressed the United Nations. The Empire thought us primitive because we chose to hide our strength. They mistook our patience for weakness. Now they learned the cost of their arrogance. Admiral Trevor reviewed the battle data with his staff. Casualties, he asked. 3 damaged fighters, no deaths, sir, reported Lieutenant Adams. Imperial losses, 187 ships destroyed, 13 captured, remainder in full retreat. And our sleeper cells, activated across Imperial space, sir. Reports coming in of successful strikes against their infrastructure. The Empire's outer regions are in chaos. In the Imperial capital, the Emperor ordered full mobilization of the Imperial fleet. Send everything we have. Crush these upstart humans. I want their world burned to ash. His admiral dared to object. Your Majesty, we should consider their original warning. They knew about us all along. They let us find them. Perhaps we should. Silence. The Emperor roared. I will not be defied by primitives. Launch the Planet Crusher fleet. We will show them the true might of the Empire. Back on Earth, Admiral Trevor received the intelligence report about the Empire's response. He turned to President Wilson's hologram. They're sending everything, sir, including the Planet Crushers. The President nodded. Good. Time to show them our real weapons. Activate the Quantum Phase Fleet. Let's remind them why they should have run when we warned them. As news of Earth's victory spread across Imperial space, subjected species began to whisper in hope. The undefeatable Empire had finally met its match. Change was coming to the galaxy, carried on the wings of humanity's hidden strength. Deep in Imperial space, the unthinkable happened. Ships appeared from nowhere, struck without warning, and vanished before the Empire could respond. The humans' Ghost Fleet had begun its campaign, and the Empire's worlds fell into chaos. Admiral Trevor coordinated the attacks from Earth's quantum-shielded command center. Status of Operation Phantom. Ghost Fleet reports successful strikes on 15 Imperial shipyards. Lieutenant Adams replied. Their production capacity is down 60%. No losses on our side. The Empire still can't detect our phase-shifted ships. The Empire's military leaders gathered in their golden palace, faces dark with worry. Their mighty civilization, built over thousands of years, was being torn apart by an enemy they couldn't find or fight. How did we miss this? Demanded the Emperor. How long have they been watching us? His intelligence chief stepped forward, trembling. Your Majesty, we've discovered human observation posts dating back 50 years. They mapped our entire empire while hidden in plain sight. Their technology, it's beyond anything we've seen. Across Imperial space, the Ghost Fleet struck with surgical precision. Supply lines vanished. Communication relays went dark. Imperial warships found themselves fighting enemies they couldn't see or track. On an Imperial border world, Port Commander Davis watched his hidden sensors track another successful strike. He had lived among the aliens for 20 years, building his cover as a simple merchant. Now his true mission began. Ghost Fleet Strike Team Alpha. Target located. He whispered into his quantum communicator. Imperial fuel depot ahead. Security patterns mapped. You have a 6-minute window. The Empire's best detection systems showed nothing, but their massive fuel depot erupted in silent flame moments later. By the time Imperial responders arrived, the attackers were long gone, leaving no trace of their presence. Back on Earth, President Wilson reviewed the latest success reports. How are they responding? Admiral Trevor displayed a holographic map showing Imperial fleet movements. They're panicking, sir, spreading their forces thin, trying to protect everything at once. Exactly as we planned. The Emperor's personal flagship burned through hyperspace, rushing from crisis to crisis. His mighty empire was being dismantled piece by an enemy that seemed to be everywhere and nowhere. Another shipyard lost. Your Majesty, reported his admiral. The humans. They appear inside our security perimeters. Our sensors detect nothing until it's too late. Even our best shielded facilities offer no protection. In the outer regions of Imperial space, subjected species watched in amazement as their oppressors' power crumbled. Some began quiet rebellions of their own, inspired by humanity's success. On the colony world of New Terra, disguised as an Imperial mining operation, General Roberts prepared his next strike. Ghost Fleet Command, this is Strike Base 7. Phase shift generators charged, ready to deploy. Moments later, 100 Earth warships phased into normal space, their quantum drives allowing them to bypass Imperial defenses completely. The Empire's largest weapon factory never saw them coming. Sir, Captain Miller reported to Admiral Trevor, Imperial response times are getting slower. Their command structure is breaking down. They can't coordinate their defenses. The Admiral nodded. They're learning what happens when you threaten Earth. Launch the next phase. Let's see how they handle our AI warfare systems. Across Imperial networks, human AI programs activated. Security systems turned against their masters. Defense platforms targeted their own ships. The Empire's vaunted technology became a weapon used against them. In his palace, the Emperor watched helplessly as another report of destruction arrived. "How?" he roared. "How can primitive humans do this to us?" His advisor spoke carefully. "Your Majesty, we've discovered something disturbing. The humans. They've been experimenting with technologies we thought impossible. They developed in secret while we watched their public space program and thought them primitive." The Ghost Fleet continued its campaign of devastation. Imperial worlds lived in fear, never knowing where the humans would strike next. The mighty Empire, which had thought Earth an easy conquest, found itself fighting shadows. Admiral Trevor studied the battle reports with satisfaction. "Send word to all Ghost Fleet units. Begin Phase 4. It's time to show them why Earth's warnings should have been heeded." Across the stars, humanity's hidden strength continued to shatter the Empire's grip on power. The game of shadows was one the humans had mastered long ago, preparing for the day when the Empire would make its fatal mistake of threatening Earth. The Planet Crusher fleet emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the Sol system. 1,000 of the Empire's most powerful warships, each capable of destroying an entire world. They were the Emperor's ultimate weapon, never defeated in battle. Admiral Trevor watched their approach on his command screen. "Right on schedule. All units in position." "Yes, sir," Captain Miller reported. "Quantum phase fleet ready. Jupiter defense grid armed. The Empire's ships are exactly where we want them." The Imperial Admiral stood proudly on his flagship's bridge. His planet crushers carried enough firepower to turn Earth into cosmic dust. "Begin the attack sequence. Show these humans the price of defiance." The massive Imperial ships powered up their main weapons. Energy readings spiked across human sensors. But before they could fire, Admiral Trevor gave his command. "Execute Operation Gravity Storm." Hidden generators around Jupiter activated. The gas giant's massive gravitational field suddenly shifted, aimed like a weapon at the Imperial fleet. Caught unprepared, hundreds of planet crushers were pulled off course, their formations shattered. "Impossible," the Imperial Admiral shouted. "They're controlling gravity itself. All ships, emergency thrusters." But the humans weren't finished. As the Imperial ships struggled against Jupiter's altered gravity, Earth's quantum phase fleet struck. Appearing from their dimensional shift, they fired their primary weapons directly into the hearts of the planet crushers. "Sir," reported Lieutenant Adams, "first wave successful. 300 enemy ships disabled. Their shields can't handle attacks from quantum space." The Imperial fleet tried to regroup, to bring their world-killing weapons to bear. But Earth's ships danced through their formation, phasing in and out of normal space, striking with perfect precision. "Return fire," ordered the Imperial Admiral. "They can't dodge everything." But they could. Earth's AI combat systems predicted every Imperial move seconds before it happened. Human ships shifted between dimensions, making Imperial weapons pass harmlessly through empty space. Admiral Trevor watched the battle unfold. "Launch the Jupiter Strike Force. Let's show them our gravity manipulation isn't just for defense." From Jupiter's atmosphere, specially designed human warships emerged. They carried weapons that could control gravity at the quantum level. Imperial ships found themselves crushed by artificial gravity wells or torn apart by gravitational shear forces. "Your Majesty," the Imperial Admiral sent an urgent message to his Emperor. "We've lost half the Planet Crusher fleet. Their technology. It defies everything we know about physics." The Emperor's reply was immediate. "I don't care about their technology. Destroy them or die trying." The battle raged across the space near Jupiter. Imperial ships, the pride of their civilization, fell one after another to weapons they couldn't understand or fight. Their world-killing weapons proved useless against foes they couldn't hit. "Sir," Captain Miller reported, Imperial forces attempting to concentrate their remaining ships for one massive strike. Admiral Trevor nodded, just as expected. "Activate the quantum entanglement trap." As the Imperial ships gathered, human scientists activated their newest weapon. Space itself seemed to twist around the planet crushers. Their engines failed as quantum fields disrupted their power systems. The Imperial Admiral watched in horror as his mighty fleet became helpless. What is this sorcery? How can they control the fabric of space itself? "Your fleet is neutralized." Admiral Trevor's message reached all Imperial ships. "Surrender now, and we will spare your crews." But the Empire's pride wouldn't allow surrender. The remaining planet crushers charged forward, weapons firing blindly, hoping to score at least one hit against the humans who had humbled them. "They never learn," Trevor sighed. "All units, final strike pattern. End this." Earth's ships struck from every direction at once. Quantum weapons, gravity beams, and dimensional shear forces tore through the Imperial fleet's remaining defenses. The mighty planet crushers, terror of 1,000 worlds, died in fire and silence. Hours later, Admiral Trevor reported to President Wilson. "Planet crusher fleet destroyed." "Sir, 786 ships confirmed destroyed, 214 captured. Our casualties: 12 ships damaged, no losses." The President nodded grimly. "Send the recording of this battle to every world in the Empire. Let them see what happens when Earth is threatened." Across Imperial space, the news spread quickly. The unbeatable planet crushers had been crushed themselves. The Empire's greatest weapons had failed. And still, the humans showed no sign of using their full strength. In his golden palace, the Emperor received the devastating news. For the first time in his long life, he felt fear. What else had these humans been hiding? What other impossible weapons did they possess? The news of the planet crusher fleet's destruction spread like wildfire through the Empire's worlds. Centuries of fear began to crumble as subjected species watched their oppressors' mightiest weapons fall before human technology. On the slave world of Proxima Colony, the reptilian workers raised their heads for the first time in generations. Their imperial overseers seemed less threatening now. When the humans' message reached them, promising freedom and alliance, the revolution began. "Another sector has declared independence," reported Lieutenant Adams to Admiral Trevor. "The Empire's hold on their outer worlds is collapsing faster than we predicted." In the Imperial capital, chaos reigned. The Emperor's palace guards fought to control rioting crowds. Ancient slave species had risen up, inspired by Earth's example. Even some of the Empire's own citizens joined the rebels, tired of endless war and oppression. "My Emperor," the chief advisor bowed low, "we've lost contact with 30 star systems. The humans are providing weapons to the rebels. Our forces are stretched too thin to respond." The Emperor's scales had lost their golden shine, turning dull with stress and fear. How can one primitive world do this to us? Meanwhile, Earth's psychological warfare campaign struck at the heart of Imperial society. Hidden transmitters broadcast the truth about the Empire's defeats. Security footage of burning planet crushers played on every communication channel. Admiral Trevor reviewed the reports with satisfaction. "Status of Operation Truth." "Working perfectly, sir," Captain Miller replied. "Our AI systems have complete control of their communication networks. Every Imperial citizen can now see their leaders' lies. Their society is fracturing from within. On thousands of worlds, the Empire's iron grip weakened. Former enemies became allies against their common oppressor. Human ships appeared from nowhere, delivering weapons and supplies to freedom fighters, then vanishing before Imperial forces could respond. The Imperial military began to crack. Entire fleets deserted, their crews refusing to fight for a losing cause. Officers who had witnessed the planet crusher's destruction spread tales of human invincibility. "Sir," reported Lieutenant Adams. Imperial trade routes are shutting down. Their economy is in free fall. 17 more colony worlds have pledged allegiance to Earth. President Wilson addressed the United Nations. Our plan is working. The Empire's strength was always built on fear. Now that their subjects see them defeated, their whole system is collapsing. In a secret meeting on Earth, rebel leaders from 100 worlds gathered to plan the future. Beings of all shapes and sizes, former enemies under Imperial rule, now united in common cause. Earth offers you freedom, Admiral Trevor told them. Not conquest, not submission, but true independence. Together, we can build something better than the Empire ever was. The Emperor watched helplessly as his realm crumbled. Reports of rebellion came faster than his forces could respond. His once mighty military lay in ruins, his economy collapsed, his people turning against him. Another Imperial battle group has surrendered, Captain Miller reported. Their commander requests asylum, says he won't fight for a dying empire. Human ships moved openly through Imperial space now, no longer needing stealth. Former Imperial citizens welcomed them as liberators. The Empire's propaganda about primitive humans had been exposed as lies. On Earth, Admiral Trevor planned the final phase. Their military is broken, their economy ruined, their people in revolt. Time to end this. The Emperor received one last message from Earth. Your empire is finished. Your people desert you. Your weapons cannot harm us. Surrender now, or face complete destruction. In his crumbling palace, surrounded by rebellion, the Emperor faced a choice. His advisors had fled. His guards had deserted. Outside, the sounds of revolution filled the streets of the capital. Your Majesty, his last loyal admiral reported, we've gathered all remaining loyal forces. We can make one final stand against the humans. The Emperor's scales darkened with rage and fear. Then let it be our greatest battle. Gather every ship, every soldier still loyal. We will show these humans that the Empire still has teeth. On Earth, Admiral Trevor received the intelligence report. They're preparing for one final battle, sir. President Wilson nodded grimly. Then let's end this. Show them our full strength. Show them why they should have heeded our warning and run while they had the chance. Across the galaxy, billions watched and waited. The final battle between humanity and the dying empire was about to begin. The remnants of the Imperial fleet gathered near their capital world. 5,000 ships, everything that remained of their once mighty navy. Behind them, their golden throne world gleamed, a final symbol of fading glory. All ships report ready, Your Majesty, the last loyal admiral announced. We await the humans' arrival. The Emperor stood on his flagship's bridge, his scales now almost black with rage. Let them come. We still have enough firepower to destroy a dozen worlds. Admiral Trevor studied the tactical display on Earth's command ship. The Imperial fleet's formation appeared on the quantum sensors, desperately trying to protect their capital. All forces in position, he asked. Yes, sir, Captain Miller replied. Dimension-shifting battleships ready. New weapons primed. The Empire's about to see what we've been holding back. The human fleet emerged from quantum space directly behind the Imperial formation. Not the small ghost fleet they'd seen before, but humanity's full strength. 10,000 ships, each carrying weapons that could bend reality itself. Impossible, the Imperial Admiral gasped. Our sensors show they're everywhere at once. They're operating in multiple dimensions simultaneously. The Emperor watched in horror as human ships seemed to exist in several places at the same time. Their new dimension-shifting battleships phased between different realities, making them impossible to target. All ships, open fire, the Emperor commanded. Show them the Empire's final fury. Imperial weapons blazed across space, filling the void with deadly energy. But the human ships simply shifted to other dimensions, letting the attacks pass through empty space. Their weapons are useless, reported Lieutenant Adams. Shall we demonstrate our new technology, sir? Admiral Trevor nodded. Show them what they're really facing. The human fleet activated their reality warping drives. Space itself seemed to twist and bend around them. Imperial ships found themselves facing enemies that existed in multiple timelines at once. What sorcery is this? The Emperor screamed as his ships began exploding. How can they be in the past, present, and future simultaneously? Human weapons struck from impossible angles, bypassing Imperial shields completely. Ships were destroyed by attacks that hit them seconds before they were fired. The Empire's final defense crumbled before weapons that ignored the normal laws of physics. "Your Majesty," the Admiral's voice shook, "we've lost half our fleet. Their technology, it's beyond comprehension. They're not just shifting through space, they're manipulating time itself." The Emperor watched his mighty fleet die. Ships vanished into dimensional rifts. Others were torn apart by weapons that struck from multiple realities at once. His last hope of victory evaporated before his eyes. Admiral Trevor opened a communication channel to all Imperial ships. "Your fleet is destroyed. Your empire has fallen. Surrender now, and we will show mercy." On the Imperial flagship's bridge, alarms screamed as reality warping fields surrounded them. Human ships appeared and disappeared, existing in multiple dimensions, making defense impossible. "Sir," Captain Miller reported, "Imperial flagship is isolated. Their escort ships have been eliminated. The Emperor is trapped." The Emperor looked out at his burning fleet, at the human ships that danced between dimensions like gods of space and time. Finally, he understood the truth. They had never been primitive. They had spent decades preparing for this moment, developing weapons and technology beyond anything the Empire could imagine. "Your Majesty," his admiral whispered, "we have no choice. We must surrender." Around the Imperial capital, human ships maintained their reality warping siege. The Empire's mighty civilization, built over thousands of years, had been brought to its knees in weeks by an enemy they had fatally underestimated. Admiral Trevor's voice reached every surviving Imperial ship. "This is your final chance. Surrender, or we will demonstrate our full power." The Emperor stared at the human fleet, ships existing in multiple dimensions, weapons that could rewrite reality itself. His empire was gone, his fleet destroyed, his power broken. With trembling claws, he pressed the communication button. "This is the Emperor of the Great Space. We surrender." On Earth's command ship, Admiral Trevor nodded. "Send the message to Earth. Tell them it's over. The Empire has fallen." Across the galaxy, the news spread instantly. The Empire that had terrorized thousands of worlds for centuries had finally met its match. And in the end, their conquerors were the humans they had dismissed as primitives, the species that had warned them to run. The Imperial Palace's golden halls, once filled with the Emperor's proud courtiers, now hosted representatives from 1,000 worlds. 1 week had passed since the Empire's surrender, and the galaxy was changing. President Wilson stood before the gathered species, his voice carrying across the vast chamber. "Today we establish the Galactic Federation. Not an empire built on fear, but an alliance of equals." The former emperor, his scales now a dull gray, watched from a corner. His mighty civilization had crumbled in weeks, defeated by humans who had spent decades preparing for this moment. "The transition is proceeding smoothly," Admiral Trevor reported to Earth's Council. "Former Imperial worlds are joining the Federation willingly. Our technology is helping them rebuild." Across the galaxy, human ships helped restore order. They used their dimension-shifting technology to deliver aid and supplies to worlds devastated by Imperial rule. Former enemies worked together, united by their shared freedom. "Send another relief fleet to the outer colonies," ordered Captain Miller, "and have our engineers help them rebuild their infrastructure. Show them that Earth keeps its promises." In the newly established Federation Council, representatives from Earth sat alongside beings they had once thought mere legend. The humans shared their advanced technology freely, helping their new allies rise from Imperial oppression. "Amazing," said a reptilian delegate from a former slave world. "For decades, we thought humans were primitive. all while they prepared in secret, developing powers beyond our understanding. The former emperor approached Admiral Trevor after a council session. "You could have destroyed us at any time, couldn't you? Why did you wait?" Trevor smiled. "We needed to be sure we could free everyone, not just defeat your military. We spent 50 years learning everything about your empire, preparing to dismantle it completely." Earth became the heart of the new Federation, but not its ruler. Human leaders worked to establish true democracy across former imperial space. Their advanced technology helped unite worlds that had been enemies for centuries. Another sector has completed its first free elections, Lieutenant Adams reported. The Federation grows stronger each day. Even former imperial loyalists are accepting the new order. President Wilson toured the rebuilding worlds with other Federation leaders. Everywhere, they saw former imperial subjects working to build something new. The fear that had ruled the galaxy for so long was finally fading. "Your warning," the former emperor said during a quiet moment. "When you told us to run, you knew exactly what would happen, didn't you?" Admiral Trevor nodded. "We discovered your probe ships 50 years ago. Instead of revealing ourselves, we studied you. We developed technology specifically designed to counter your weapons. We prepared for the day you would find us." In the Federation's new historical archives, the story was recorded for future generations. How humanity had hidden its true power, waiting patiently as the Empire grew closer. How they had developed weapons that could bend reality itself, preparing for a war they knew would come. "The humans taught us all a lesson," said the Federation's first elected chief speaker. "True strength lies not in conquest, but in preparation, patience, and wisdom." Across Earth, people celebrated their victory differently. Not with parades and fireworks, but with quiet satisfaction. They had freed a galaxy from tyranny, not through brutal conquest, but through careful planning and superior technology. "The Federation's charter is complete," Captain Miller reported. "Every member world has signed. A new age of peace and cooperation has begun." In the Federation Council chamber, the former Emperor's historian completed his final record of the Empire's fall. His words would be remembered for generations. "We thought them primitive because they showed us what we expected to see. We thought them weak because they hid their strength. We thought them easy prey because we were blind to their preparations. They warned us to run, and in our pride we laughed. That laughter died when we saw their true power. The humans had spent 50 years preparing for our arrival, and in the end, they didn't just defeat us. They replaced everything we were with something better." Admiral Trevor stood at Earth's new spaceport, watching ships from 100 worlds come and go freely. "Send a message to all Federation worlds," he ordered. "The age of empires is over. The age of cooperation has begun." And across the stars, a new civilization grew from the ashes of the old, built not on fear and conquest, but on mutual respect and shared wisdom. The humans had changed the galaxy forever, proving that true power lies not in the strength you show, but in the wisdom to know when to reveal it.